Welcome to today's webinar. It's October and we are talking about Colorado Gives Day prizes. Today, we're going to be discussing your incentive strategy and how it's going to drive more donations this year for Colorado Gives Day. Let's jump in. All right. If we haven't talked before, hi, I'm Jordan Brown. I'm the Nonprofit Success Manager for coloradogives.org, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for spending some time with us. We know that it has been a crazy year, and we know that you guys are putting in an extreme amount of long hours. And so we just wanted to say we see you, we appreciate you, and we are so thrilled that we are able to partner with you and lift you up. So thank you. All right. For today, we are going to be learning why prizes matter, how to integrate the prizes into your campaign, actionable timelines to raise more, and then, of course, we will go through the details of the prizes. As always, this webinar is being recorded, and especially today, because if you were with us live, I did have a power outage. And so this is a recording for everyone. And thank you so much for sticking around and sticking with us. So this is a recording. And if you have any questions, you should be reaching out to support at coloradogives.org. We are going to be sending this to you, and it will have the slide deck as well. And I want to remind everybody that because we did have an outage today, I'm going to do an extra office hours. So look for that in the follow-up email, an RSVP to ask about prizes or anything else. A recording disclaimer, anything that we are sharing here as far as info or data is either a work of fiction or not private information. All right, so for today, we did have a welcome where everybody posted their favorite dance songs. So just carry that with you during this webinar, or maybe you're listening to it now. Let's head through so we can get to the content. So here we are. Today is October 9th, and we are in the prize webinar. On the 21st of October at 9 a.m., we are going to go through a Colorado Gives Day success checklist, meaning we're just going to cover a lot of the details in a shorter form of what we already asked you to do for the webinar. So this is for anybody who's catching up or just wants to make sure I's are dotted and T's are crossed before November 1st. I'll also encourage you guys, please sign up for the November 3rd Colorado Gives Day kickoff celebration. This is for you. This is about you. And this is to make you feel as good as possible heading into this marathon, which is Colorado Gives Day and end of year giving. There's limited spots. There are going to be giveaways. And there's a really cool speaker. So we hope you'll join. You can RSVP for any of these on the nonprofit resources page. A reminder here that we still have access to Catch a Fire. So this is a year-round offering for your nonprofit, as long as you're on coloradogives.org. If you need help getting started, they have a wonderful support team. You can schedule time with them and they can help you click the right buttons to get onboarded. Catch a Fire is a free subscription that connects you and your team and your staff to volunteers that are experts in their field who want to volunteer their time and expertise. So we are eliminating the cost of consultation fees or consultation fees because we are paying for that subscription for you. You are getting all of these services for free. Last thing I want to make sure to go over here today, just a reminder, we've been throwing a lot of stuff at you. And so some key nonprofit resources that we've shared over the past couple weeks. Of course, the nonprofit resources page is where everything's at. You can from there find the toolkit. You can find a calendar and a checklist. You can share your event. So we are asking any nonprofits that have events planned during the Colorado Gives Day time period, fill out a short form. Let us know what's happening because we're talking to media and we want to formalize and let them know cool stuff that's going on around the state, aka your events for Colorado Gives Day. The nonprofit page also hosts our webinar library, which means that this webinar will go on the resources page once it's completed and recorded. So you can find all of these webinars plus a ton of other webinars focused on donor retention and so much more. And then lastly, just a reminder that your nonprofit resources page also, if you scroll to the bottom, has all of our FAQs accessible. It has a place where you can contact customer support quickly, and it's a place where you can schedule calls with me. So if you haven't yet, make sure to visit the nonprofit resources page. And another great thing that you can find on the nonprofit resources page is our merch store. So we do have a merch store open. It's only open until October 31st. So get your orders in, get your Christmas orders in. If you are interested in having some Colorado Gives Day feel-good merchandise. Oh, let me go back here for a sec. Before we jump into some stats, regarding the merch store, this was requested widely, and we did used to have a merch store, but just wanted to let you guys know it's not a money-making avenue for us. This is not for our own revenue. This is by request. We brought back the merch store with some refreshed items for our new brand and the new feel of Colorado Gives and coloradogives.org. All right. So you've seen these before, but just a reminder for those who haven't, some exciting stats from 2024 Colorado Gives Day. The ones I want to focus on right now is that we are seeing, or have seen, I should say, returning donors donate over 80% of the dollars represented, over 60% of the donors. So returning donors are the ones that are donating the vast majority of gifts. Those returning donors are giving $724 on average for the Colorado Gives Day time period, while new donors are giving about $263. So big difference in numbers there when you consider where you should be spending your time. And then the last thing I'll point out here, and something we've talked about before, and resources we've included in the toolkit, Giving Tuesday 2024 was a huge success in that we were able to have activations across the state, which was wonderful. But we also saw an increase in dollars, donors, and donations. And those are pretty big increases. And by pretty big, I mean bigger than the actual Giving Tuesday experienced. And so we are encouraging everybody to make sure that that's a milestone in your campaign and that you're focusing on that day and driving folks to coloradogives.org. All right. Wanted to flash some webinars that are available to you as you guys are preparing for Colorado Gives Day. Now, these aren't required. They're not part of the Colorado Gives Day webinar series, but I think they are super relevant. So the first, of course, is the Catch a Fire 101 webinar, which is going to inform you and answer all your questions about joining Catch a Fire, what it means, how can I do it. But I think even more importantly, we have some specific to Colorado Gives Day around writing compelling appeals, optimizing your website, so how to use the embeddable form on Colorado Gives, and how to streamline your website donations overall. And then the last two I think are really important if you're still trying to figure out what your email schedule looks like. So we have an inbox impact where we define campaign email strategy specifically for Colorado Gives Day. And then we don't want to leave you hanging. This is momentum that you should be keeping going throughout the end of the year. And so we do have a webinar for you that just recaps a lot of the great strategies that you can deploy and also a schedule for emails that's suggested, tested, and works. All right. Prize overview for Colorado Gives Day 2025. So let's get into the details. The great news is not much has shifted or changed. And so this year, we really get to dig a little bit deeper into how you can deploy some strategy. Why do prizes even matter? Why are we all here today? Well, that's how giving days are successful. So prizes are one of the main, if not the main driver and incentive for nonprofits to participate, for donors to step up and give, as well as the deadline. So that campaign milestone of November 1st through December 9th really urges people to give during that time period. So we see that 42% of donors say time-bound campaigns are driving them to act. Campaigns mentioning a prize or a match, if you can identify a match, they see 26% higher click-through rates. That's big when you're sending out a lot of emails. And then nonprofits participating in giving events, that's us. They're raising 4 times more than peers who aren't. And so this is a really great opportunity for you guys to, again, ride that wave of Colorado Gives Day into end of year fundraising and really reap all the benefits of the prizes we'll chat about. The other thing to remember is that not every nonprofit's going to win a prize. Some will, and that's amazing. And they're going to do amazing things with that amount of money. But even if you are not the one that wins the prize, you've already won over the crowd. You've invited them in. They've experienced something exciting and special with you in trying to reach toward a shared goal of a prize or a power hour or a goal of amount of donors. And so that is so much more valuable in the long term, although everybody loves a prize. First things first, I really want folks to be focusing on setting campaign goals. Sometimes we just take for granted all of the amazing things that are happening during this time period. And this year, I want everybody to think about these 3 goal types. Participation goals, so total donors, percent of new donors, volunteers, your actual fundraising goals, so total raised, average gift, or if your match that you've set up on coloradogives.org was met. A lot of folks aren't measuring these as a standard, and I think they should be. So engagement goals, so social shares, phone outreach, trivia participation. This is all important and speaks to not only what's successful from your end, but also what your donors are interested in. So don't take that lightly. Pay attention. I thought this was fascinating. Organizations with written goals, so if you're actually sitting down and taking some time to think about it, they raise 47% more. That's a lot more, almost double. When you're thinking about your goals, try tying your goals with your mission. So for example, winning 5K equals 10 more youth scholarships if your program is around youth scholarships. And then last, I get a lot of questions about like, what should my goal be? What's reasonable? And of course, you can look at what you raised last year, new audiences or methods that you're leveraging this year to get more people involved. So for me, I would think that you would have a realistic goal. You would have a reach goal. So, oh gosh, wouldn't it be so great if? And then a celebration milestone. So regardless of what goals are met, be celebrating with your donors at every milestone because they're important and they create that warm, fuzzy feeling that turns into a retained and dedicated donor. I thought we'd chat about this first, since it is kind of the foundation of how we organize the prize structure for Colorado Gives Day. So this is the nonprofit size categories. We group nonprofits as equitably as possible to make sure that competition within the small, medium, and large groupings are equal. And so this year, just a couple days ago, we did the platform update. And so all of your sizes on your organization page are updated and ready for 2025 and for Colorado Gives Day. The small bucket is less than 150,000 in revenue. The medium is 150,000 to just under $1 million. And then the large nonprofits are $1 million plus. And so that is how you are competing for power hours. That is how you're competing for the leaderboards. And it makes those prizes more in reach for everybody that's participating. If a nonprofit, if their financial information isn't populated, it isn't in there, that means that we weren't able to get it from the IRS database or from the Colorado Secretary of State. And so in that smaller scenario, churches and some other types of organizations, we would be reaching out to you. So you'll see that here in October for the small group of folks that maybe don't have their financial information public. And so you'll get an email. And then the last reminder on the nonprofit size categories is that the size that you see listed now, it's the one that's going to be used for Colorado Gives Day. That update was already completed. And to ensure that fairness and consistency for all nonprofits, we have almost 5,000 on the platform. The size categories are not adjusted for anybody on a case-by-case basis. It's information coming from a verified source, again, either the Secretary of State database or the IRS. And so this is the set buckets of small, medium, and large for this year. If you're wondering where that lives on your organization page, if you scroll down on to the bottom, near the organization data, you're going to see an organization size display. All right. New for this year, there is no deadline to participate. And so there are always some latecomers or people who are trying so hard to get their nonprofit on coloradogives.org. And in years past, we did have a cutoff. And so sometimes those delays are internal. Sometimes they're delays with the Secretary of State or IRS database. So whatever the reason, this year we are eliminating that cutoff date. And so whenever you can get your organization page live and accepting donations by completing that to-do list, that is when you can start participating. The cutoff that we are going to continue to hold is that if your page isn't live by December 8th, so the day before the big day, we won't be able to put you in leaderboards because that's the last update that we'll do. And so that is the one cutoff, mostly for new nonprofits or nonprofits with outdated profiles that need to be updated. And of course, in addition to the deadline, we're encouraging you to make your page live and updated now. We're seeing more site activity and everybody's leaning in and refreshing their pages based on the trainings that I did. And so even though we no longer have a cutoff, we still consider the start of Colorado Gives Day, November 1st. And so if you can kick it off with us, that's the best. All right. So the big one, we have $1 million incentive fund every year that's offered throughout the entire timeframe of coloradogives.org, which is pretty incredible. So every donation made, and this is messaging that you can find directly in your toolkit, every donation made and processed through Colorado Gives Day, it's boosted or amplified, you can say, by one of the largest incentive funds in the country. And so one misconception that I see all the time in email and social media communications is that a lot of people think this is a match, like a one-to-one match. It is not, so be careful of not using that match language. This is a percentage of the overall pie that is the incentive fund that's given to each nonprofit based on how much they raised. And so you can see the calculation here should you need to figure out how much you've raised in the past and how much you might raise this year. And just a reminder again, there is copy upon copy available for you as templates in that toolkit. So if you're not sure how to message this, just know that you have those templates available. Before I move on, I want to remind everybody that this is one of the most important and compelling things for donors. We survey them, and they want to be included in the movement, and they are compelled to give because all of their donations are boosted or amplified by the incentive fund. So this is a very powerful tool to put in front of your donors. All right. For Colorado Gives Day, we have 100K in cash prizes. So let's chat a little bit about that. Of course, we have leaderboards, a small, a medium, and a large, and those leaderboards will be available and accessible throughout the entire campaign. They'll live on their own page that you can access. And at the end of the day, November 9th, there will be 3 grand prize winners. They'll each win $10,000. There's going to be a second place prize. So a small, medium, and large nonprofit who will get $5,000 based on their position in the leaderboard. We also have power hours. And so on December 9th, we'll have 15 power hours that are 15 prizes of $2,000, I should say, to win during these hours. So 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m. And make no mistake, we see huge surges in donations. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how to leverage that. You may see on our prizes page a regional champions prize. And so we have 16 regional champions that in their area and their community are rallying nonprofits and community members for Colorado Gives Day, which is pretty incredible. And so we give them some prize money or money for marketing for rallying in their local region. So yay, regional champions. We also have a First Bank Trivia Prize. So this one is really exciting. It's easy and donors can participate. And so there are 10 chances to win $1,000 from this First Bank Trivia. Let's talk first about the leaderboards. And again, these are going to be present November 1st through December 9th. And as your organization page goes live, if it's not live right now, we'll add you into the leaderboard. So then you'll be eligible for prizes leading up to December 9th. So what might you do to better leverage these leaderboard prizes? So I thought it would be helpful to kind of map out actions you can take leading up to and to leverage throughout this time period. So perhaps during the October 15th to November time period, you're really assessing and setting your goals and figuring out your messaging. So making sure you are understanding where you are in the leaderboard. Okay, I'm in the small leaderboard, so I need messaging around how to help us reach the top 10 in the leaderboard this Colorado Gives Day. Maybe it's, oh, last year we were 17th. This year, let's get up to 10th place. And so there's a lot of fun you can have just in the gamification around moving up and down places on the leaderboard. The leaderboards are searchable. They are expandable. And so donors can engage with them too. And so they can be both a visual tool for you and a compelling way for donors to see the activity happening. It might be fun to start teasing your participation across email and social media. And so maybe, again, just talking about leaderboard results from last year or friendly competition, but start hinting to the prizes and incentives that are going to be available to the benefit of the donor and, of course, your nonprofit. Maybe in November, you're starting to activate your ambassadors, and that can mean whatever it means to you. Your ambassadors are maybe your board, staff, volunteers, maybe they're spokespeople, or local, government representatives that support your nonprofit. So whoever those people are, encourage them to be sharing why they give. And that starts to like prime people, right? They start to think, okay, these folks are giving to this organization and they're compelled enough to post about it. So it starts to prime your audience and your network, and of course, tell wonderful stories about any of your ambassadors or champions for your cause. Around Giving Tuesday, this is a great time to start testing and doing real-time updates. So Giving Tuesday is a huge day, as we discussed. So practice your posting a message. We're climbing up the leaderboard. Let's hit number 5 by midnight. And so start testing those messages. See how people react to them. Use this day to warm up to your donors and start talking about the ultimate day of December 9th. This is going to build confidence and, of course, engagement before the big day. When we're thinking about leaderboards and, of course, getting folks excited, you're kind of going from goal Giving Tuesday to December 9th, and then you're celebrating with all of your donors. And so from December 3rd to December 8th, I would be counting down, talking about the leaderboards, talking about we're aiming for this as far as a goal. And remind donors that prizes, they're a reward for momentum. So the more that donors are giving, sharing, encouraging others to give, it's going to build urgency, awareness, and anticipation for the next. Of course, on Colorado Gives Day, regarding all the prizes, but specifically the leaderboards, you should be going all in on urgency. So sharing the leaderboard progress, if that's something, a strategy that you want to choose on social media, taking screenshots even. Also remember that you can be setting up matching grants. You can be calling people to encourage them to give based on your leaderboard position, and maybe texts even to drive last minute gifts. So that is happening all throughout the day for power hours, for leaderboards. At the end of the day, a big push and surge. So any of that real-time energy that you can instill on December 9th, it's going to result in higher giving and visibility. And then afterwards, after the big day, you want to celebrate with folks and report back. So if you're focusing on your leaderboard position, you want to be thanking donors and sharing your final ranking and amount raised or any other goals that you've set. You want to highlight some impact stories. Maybe you talked to the best donor that you haven't talked to for 2 years, and they came back and gave a big gift because they were so inspired. Whatever that story is, let that be shared so donors see the impact and the joy from specific stories from Colorado Gives Day. And then, of course, we're doing this because gratitude builds loyalty for next year and for other campaigns. All right. So those were some ideas and a potential timeline around leaderboards. Next, let's take a look at leveraging the power hours. So these are going to be available on December 9th. And again, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m. So pretty easy to remember. And really what you should be doing here is before the power hours, so before that first 7 a.m. one or before that 10 a.m. one, if that's the one you're going for, announce that your power hour is starting soon. And step 1, prior to these power hours, I would really suggest announcing to folks, email, phone, text, social, our power hour, the power hour that you are helping us win. It starts soon. Help us win $2,000. So all of these things are creating urgency and positions your nonprofit at the top of the mind for folks. Of course, during the power hour, we want you to post your progress and updates every 15 to 20 minutes. We're halfway there, or there's 15 minutes to go. As much as you can, have your staff ready to celebrate gifts coming through in that hour publicly, either on social media or sharing milestones of how many donors have come through. So the more you can pick up the phone, you can email a thank you, you can share or highlight donors on social media, the better during this hour, because it's going to compel other folks to give. They're going to see your feed is active. They're going to see other folks are giving, which creates social proof and, encourages that bandwagon effect, the FOMO effect, if you will. After the power hour, again, we want you to be thanking donors publicly. You powered us through 73 gifts in 1 hour. I love that. So keep the momentum by announcing the next goal. Let's carry that energy into the next hour. So whether you're doing another power hour or not, keep that momentum going. This is a conversation that's going to happen, especially December 9th, throughout the 24 hours. So don't just send one email. The other thing I would say is when you are, or I should say after the power hour, ask staff, board, and volunteers to personally thank the major donors by phone. That's going to count. That also gives you an opportunity to ask them to share, to give again. Maybe they want to give with their donor advised fund this time. And so the engagement is the most important part, the thank you. That's going to keep them coming back next year and for all the campaigns in between. Between the power hours, so if you're doing multiple, which I suggest, choose one and maybe have a backup or two. Between power hours, you want to keep it short. You want to keep updates upbeat. We're recharging for our 3 p.m. power hour. Encourage recurring gifts during this time. So if there's a lull between power hours, that's a great time to be focusing on encouraging recurring gifts or maybe gifts of $100 or more to target something like the Southwest Prize on December 9th. This is bridging the gap. So there's no lull in the amount of donations or communications that are happening on this really exciting day. And I'm just here to tell you that power hours work. We see the data, we see the spikes in giving during those hours, and consistently giving event hosts see 2 to 3 times higher donation volume during these windows. And again, due to that urgency, visibility, and excitement. So the point here really isn't necessarily to win the power hour. Of course, 3 nonprofits will win every power hour, a small, medium, and large. But from your perspective as a nonprofit, again, it's not necessarily all about the win, but about the invitation for people to collaborate with you, to help you to achieve a goal. Here's a big one. So this is our 3rd year doing the $250K recurring match prize. So this is money put up specifically by Colorado Gives Foundation, and it is inspired by what we were hearing. It's hard to ask for recurring gifts, but we know they are the most important and valuable type of gift to sustain your nonprofit. So starting November 1st, we are going to match any of your donors' first monthly gift that they set up. And that's up to $100. And so for this 250K, as long as it's available, you should be encouraging folks that you think would be good monthly or recurring givers to set up one, because they're going to get their first donation matched up to $100. I also wanted to mention, and we've said this before, but when you're thinking about the recurring or monthly givers, remember that because they're setting up their gift on coloradogives.org, it's going to be super easy to manage a recurring giving campaign or membership. And I say that because these donors have access to all of their recurring gifts. They can make updates to their gifts. They can see taxes and an annual giving report all within their user profile. And so that takes a lot of pressure and work off of you guys. You don't have Sally, the donor, calling every other month to ask to increase or decrease her gift. She can do that herself through coloradogives.org. All right. Why do we talk so much about these recurring gifts? Because donors can provide a steady support to nonprofits, and they can count on it all year long through these recurring gifts. Donors are also giving nonprofits the confidence. So these really change your outlook. You no longer have to plan short term. You can grow sustainably. And then, of course, if you're having a donor give consistently, no matter what the size is, it's going to create a lasting change and also a lasting bond between you and that recurring giver. So don't pass up the opportunity to engage further with that group. When we are thinking about new monthly donors, it's always good to take a look back. So when we want to identify monthly donors in your database, make sure to remember that you have built-in reports in coloradogives.org. And so you can see who has set up recurring donations, who has canceled their recurring donation through the recurring donations report. That's live, that's in real time. And so that can help you, of course, in preparation, but also during and after the campaign too. And so whether you're looking in Colorado Gives or in your rest of your donor database or list, new monthly givers might be targeted to be mid to lower level sporadic donors. Maybe they're just event attendees right now, so you can get them on a consistent track of giving through this offer. And of course, volunteers, friends and family, or alumni are all just some examples of folks that might be good monthly givers. All right, here's the exciting stuff. This is why you should be paying attention to the 250 recurring gift match, because we are seeing incredible results. In fact, we are seeing a 16% return in ROI. This means that the return for the nonprofits was huge. So let's take a look. So the time frame that we are measuring here is the first giving day that we offered the 250K, and that was 2023. From that, we saw incredible results. Over 2,000 donors, over 1,200 nonprofits received a new recurring match. And then 19 months later, so we're tracking this, we see that 42% of those folks that set up recurring matches during Colorado Gives Day 2023, their matches remain active. That's really incredible. That is a big number for 19 months from when they started that recurring gift to when we're taking a look. Same goes for 2024. So it's mirroring what we're seeing in 2023, except even bigger numbers, even bigger turnout. So we saw 4,200 donors setting up new recurring donations, over 1,700 nonprofits who were receiving recurring match. And get this, over 40% of the nonprofits who received a donation, any donation during Colorado Gives Day 2024, received a new recurring match. That's pretty great. That's what we want to see. That's why we're offering this prize. We want you guys to be more sustainable. All right. Heading on to businesses. So businesses are a great partner to engage for online giving for Colorado Gives Day. This is a statewide movement, and businesses want to be regarded as generous, as community-focused, as philanthropic. And so one way that you can engage businesses this year is through the Good for Business Challenge. And it's super simple. We'll take a look at what the page looks like itself, but I just wanted to go through the steps so you understand how simple it is for a business to get started and raising funds on your behalf for the Good for Business Challenge. So we want a business to be creating what we call a group giving page. And they may already have one from last year. So keep that in mind with folks that you're talking to. They are going to set up their page, and we make it really simple for them. It's a very easy page to set up, and of course it's free. When they're setting up their page, they can select one or multiple causes that they're highlighting. So that alleviates a lot of stress for businesses that might work with multiple nonprofit partners throughout the year. They can highlight multiple nonprofits on their page for Colorado Gives Day. Next, we want these businesses to be, of course, engaging their team and network. So we want them to be rallying their employers, their customers, their board, and sharing this group giving page to promote employee giving and network giving. And then the great thing here is that you have your own leaderboards as businesses. So if you're talking to a business and they're considering participating in the Good for Business Challenge, encourage them to, because it's going to increase visibility for their business. So whatever marketing you're doing, whatever marketing they're doing, and then the overall presence of this challenge and the leaderboard. And the bonus here is that through Delta Dental, if you're raising at least $1,000, you get entered to win an additional $1,000. So there's $25,000 prizes that businesses can win. And just to be clear, the businesses aren't getting those prizes. The nonprofits that they're featuring on their page are getting those prizes. So if a business wins that extra $1,000, that's going straight to the nonprofits that they're featuring on their page. Pretty great. When you're inviting businesses to join the movement, you want to encourage them to make generosity a part of their workplace this year. You want them to be invited in to the Colorado Gives Day movement because it's a central giving hub, because there's flexible options for both the business and the donor. The business gets some great tracking and insights based on where their employees or network is donating on that page. And then it's a branded experience for them. So they're able to do good without having to write you a check. And they're able to do it easily in a custom way for their business. Now, other things to note about the business challenge is that we have someone who is behind the scenes that is helping and supporting all the businesses that are preparing for and setting up their pages for the business challenge. That's his job. That's what he loves to do. And he's supporting those businesses. So it's alleviating some of the stress that you might have in working with businesses or trying to get them to set their page up. And the other thing to note is when a business creates that group giving page, they are enrolled to start getting automated emails to encourage them to set up different parts of their page. We also share with them specific tools for businesses to be successful raising funds. And then the other thing to keep in mind, so many resources. We have resources for you as a nonprofit as well. In the toolkit, there is a section specific on business giving and the Good for Business Challenge. So a lot of stuff there. We'll take a look at the page, as I said, just so you can get oriented with all of the business challenge places to click. But it is a really exciting way to get your name out there, to get a business's name out there, and to partner and either form or strengthen those business relationships. Southwest. So Southwest Airlines is a wonderful partner and a really generous company. And they, of course, do a lot for Colorado, and we are a hub. And so only on December 9th, the big Gives Day, donors who give $100 or more, they're going to be entered into an hourly drawing, so a randomized drawing, to win airline tickets oh my gosh, I want to go to Hawaii. So this is specifically for Colorado Gives Day. And the idea is, of course, to reward your donors and get them excited and give one or two of them a trip maybe. But really, it's also about encouraging people to give more than they were intending. So maybe a lot of your donors were giving 50 or 75 or 25. This is going to encourage them to hit that $100 mark for Colorado Gives Day for you if they're interested in this travel prize. So thanks, Southwest. We love you. All right. Self-identified prizes. So this is that secret slide that isn't anywhere in the public, but I wanted to make sure you guys were thinking that there's prizes beyond what we are offering. Not to complicate things more, but I want to reassure you that you can also be creative. So of course, we want everybody, if you can, to identify and set up a match for Colorado Gives Day. It's going to drive more donations for your campaign. It's going to get you discovered more easily in the Colorado Gives Day search. And it's going to really make your donors feel good, like their donation is being amplified. Matching challenges increase conversion by 71%. That's a big deal. So if you can identify a major donor, a business partner, or funds that you can put forward as a match, they don't have to run through the system, but you're setting up that visual match on Colorado Gives to make your campaign more successful. Here's another idea outside of matches: board or peer challenges. How fun is this? When 50 people give, our board chair will jump in with $500. Or maybe the board chair isn't jumping in with a donation. Maybe he's doing something silly. So whatever the action is, it shows humanity, and it is competition. It's compelling people to give. Maybe they want to see your board member shave off half his mustache. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I was just giving an example. Donor milestone celebrations. This is another one that I think we don't often talk enough about, but it's important and compelling language. If we hit 100 donors before noon, so taking out that monetary stuff, if we hit 100 donors before noon, a surprise donor unlocks an extra $1,000. Great. But again, if you don't have an extra $1,000, maybe, your admin assistant does something silly or fun or interesting, and it's shared. Another to consider is the community or business sponsorships, of course, right? Turn business partners into co-marketers. So maybe these businesses, your local cafe, they're not going to write you a check for $5,000. They're trying to stay open themselves. But they can certainly share with their networks on their social media as people come in the door to get their coffee in the morning. So this is just one example, but make sure that you are engaging your business partners to spread the word. And again, maybe it's just the great lunch place that everybody goes down the street from you guys. They know you. They want to participate. You just need to ask. Another one to think about is mission-driven incentives. So again, tying the prizes that are already available to outcomes. If we reach our goal, we'll sponsor 10 youth for a camp. It's great. It's compelling, tells about your goal, and compels people to give. So I wanted to pause here because I went over a lot of stuff and we have it all public for you, but I want to show you where it is. So let's hop out of this slide deck for a second and head to the nonprofit resources page. So if you're unfamiliar or haven't been here yet, we've been sharing it like crazy, but it's in the footer of coloradogives.org. So that's where all of the nonprofit resources live. So you can select nonprofit resources and you will land on this page. Now at the top, we have some benefits for new organizations joining, as well as the enroll area if you are a new nonprofit. But as we head down the page, I wanted to point out all the great things we have available to you. So we have a reminder to register for the November 3rd kickoff call. And then here are the big ticket items: the toolkit, the calendar, and the submit an event. Additionally, we're not leaving you hanging. We have details on the First Bank prizes through their own page that you can share and read, as well as landing pages for the $250,000 recurring gift match. And we will have one soon for the Southwest Airlines giveaway tickets. So all of that is accessible to you on the nonprofit resources page. And as we head down, right from here, you can explore the toolkit. So your toolkit to engage businesses for the business challenge. You can also learn more about the business challenge. So while we're here, I'm going to quickly open that link. This is a page dedicated to encouraging businesses to be generous and to leverage coloradogives.org. We have a business giving report at the top of the page. And as we head down, you'll see the specific directions that a business needs to follow. Their action as a business, if they don't already have a group giving page, is to create a group giving page. And don't worry if they forgot that they had a group giving page or something like that. We rectify all that stuff on the back end. Another thing I'll just point out here is that you can see last year's participants for the Good for Business Challenge, which is amazing. So you can see everybody, how much they raised, who they're supporting. And so again, these are last year's leaderboards, but it gives you an idea of all the incredible businesses that are raising funds on behalf of nonprofits throughout Colorado. If you're still curious about business giving and the group pages and the business challenge, you can watch a tutorial on how to set up a match. A lot of businesses are setting up matches on these pages. And we also have a tutorial for how to step-by-step set up this type of page. So if you want to see a real quick short video to show how easy it is for a business to set this up, you can click there. All right, back to the nonprofit toolkit. Here is your merch store. And then as we head down here, you'll see our upcoming webinars. This is happening right now. And then we have our webinar library. We have our Colorado Gives, our donor retention level up. So these are digital fundraising trainings. We can head down further and see Catch a Fire. We can see some perks if you want a quick refresher on pretty much everything we're talking about in this series. We highlight the different perks of fundraising. We can take a peek at our regional champions. So let's take a peek at these heroes, these community foundations around the country, and you can go to their specific pages. And then last but certainly not least, access to all of the help articles, direct access to our nonprofit support team, and the ability for you to schedule a meeting with me one-on-one. So just wanted to go through that just to make sure you feel comfortable that everything we're talking about here has a resource. I wanted to take it one step further now, and I'm going to click into the toolkit. All right. So at the top of this toolkit, you have some quick links so you can hop right to whatever you're looking for. For today, I think it's really important for us to just take a peek at what you have available in the prizes section. These are new this year, donor appreciation, matching grants. I wanted to make sure that you knew that we have all of the templates and email, social media, images that have all the information about these prizes. Here's a $250K recurring match post. Prize posts for Trivia Week and Power Hours. And so just a reminder, you have all this at your fingertips just to help and reaffirm when you choose and set your goals for these prize incentives. Amazing. All right, let's head to one other place here because I think it's important. If you are ever in doubt, we have a full page that's going through everything I'm talking about. You can see the grand prizes, power hours, the trivia contest details. All of this is available for you. Now, one thing I'll mention about the First Bank Trivia is that this is happening December 1st through December 5th. So mark your calendars. And this is a great way for donors to kind of get involved and help you win prizes. $1,000 is not a small amount. And so take a peek at this, work this into your schedule because the First Bank Trivia Contest is getting more popular each year. And of course, making a lot of folks happy. And it's an easy way without having to donate for people to have fun. As people are winning these prizes, and by people I mean nonprofits, we are also posting here. So if you need a reference as Colorado Gives Day is happening, you can always reference here to see who the winners are for certain power hours or different prizes. Now we're going to talk about building out your prize strategy. All right. So building your prize incentive strategy is really important. And that's why we're all here today, right? So don't overwhelm yourself. Please, we're giving you all these prizes to choose from, but that does not mean you have to do everything that we're talking about. So choose 2 to 3 prizes or a match to focus on. Consider how you're integrating that prize messaging into every channel. So it should be a part of your overall campaign communications. And then personalize what's happening during those prize hours or prize timeframes. For example, having your board or volunteers make live calls during the power hours. Some of the most successful nonprofits, that's what I'm hearing. It's people sitting down and doing the calls on Colorado Gives Day or before. Each call increases likelihood of a gift by 40%. Can you believe that? I mean, I get it. If someone's taking the time to call me, yes, I'm going to give. That's a great way to get people who maybe are lapsed or major donors to come back. A way you might phrase it is, we're aiming for the $2,000 power hour this morning. So maybe you're looking for the 7 or 10 a.m. one. Can we count on you this morning? Right? How are we making sure that the donors know that it's up to them to make this prize happen? Timing is everything. So when you are thinking about your prize schedule and strategy, of course, we want you to identify the prizes you're going to choose and create those goals that fits what you're doing. Don't try to measure or do stuff that's not in your best interest. Of course, we want you to review that toolkit and copy and images so that you're all set. Preparing email and social. So again, making sure this prize information is integrated and feels natural as you're talking about Colorado Gives Day to your donors. If you can line up any matching donors or businesses, anybody that wants to set up a monthly gift, now is the time to start doing that. And of course, we've said this several times, but scheduling those power hour calls. So if you are an organization that has donor phone numbers, go ahead and use them, especially for Colorado Gives Day. And if you don't have phone numbers yet, I wanted to just remind you that you can customize your donation form on Colorado Gives, and you can add an optional phone number question. So maybe this is your year to start collecting those phone numbers. Just make sure it's an optional question, because we don't want to turn people off by making it mandatory for them to put in their phone number. And then last but certainly not least, get ready for the real-time thank yous. So what are you doing to thank people in real time? Who's on staff? Who's available? What lists are they calling? And you can access all of that data in your reporting in real time for folks. On the right-hand side here, this is just helpful for me, a visual of what's happening. So November 1st through December 9th, of course, incentive fund, leaderboards, the recurring match, as long as it's available or until exhausted, the business challenges happening, any matching grants that you've identified and set up, and then First Bank trivia. The 24 hours of December 9th are, of course, a media blitz, a lot of things going on. And so the difference there really is that it's the final day, it's the climax, and the additional gift that you might include in your conversation is the Southwest ticket giveaway. So when you're thinking about how you are engaging with your donors around these prizes, I can't stress enough how important the celebration part is. I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, it's like, oh, okay, we met our goal. We finished Colorado Gives Day. On to the next thing. Not that you didn't send a thank you, but did you really celebrate? Did you really acknowledge? Did you really spend the time to make sure donors know that because they showed up, these things will happen in 2026? And so I just want to encourage you guys to think about what that post looks like, not just the in the moment, the Colorado Gives Day. And some wisdom for reaching out. Don't don't overemphasize the winning. Yes, of course you want to win the Power Hour prize, but the impact is still the main message. You're winning that prize because of impact that it can make. Also spacing out your appeals. So focus on high energy moments like Giving Tuesday, big day, November, well, not November 1st this year because it is a Saturday, but kicking off on November 3rd, that Monday. And then keeping donor joy at the center. So prizes are the excuse, not the reason. So they're excitement, but not why the person is giving. Again, bringing it back to that impact. And folks, these are the things that we are seeing really matters for giving events and digital fundraising in general. So if you can act on them now, please do. So peer-to-peer fundraising, right? Campaigns that do peer-to-peer fundraising, they raise on average 30% more than those who aren't doing those peer-to-peer campaigns. Colorado Gives make it very easy with templates for peer-to-peer fundraising and special pages for it, all for free. So definitely consider if it's right for you to ask some people in your network to fundraise on your behalf instead of or in addition to giving. We've talked about it, but recurring giving matters, and that's why we're putting up that 250K. Donors acquired through giving days are 70% more likely to set up a recurring gift than those acquired through other campaigns. Easy, right? But it's the momentum, it's the excitement, it's the belonging, and it's the amazing amount of messaging that you are sending to them about your organization and the impact a recurring gift can make. Early engagement equals higher returns. So nonprofits that are starting donor outreach early, 2 to 3 times more raised than those who wait till the week of the event, or maybe you're just going to do it after November 1st. No, use this time, use October to warm people up before the giving begins. And then this is a big one for us always, but especially now. Retention matters. So nationally, it's 45%, and that's about what we see for retention on Colorado Gives. But we know it's the biggest driver for large donations, for having bigger campaigns year over year. So you should be considering sending pre-thank you messages, which we'll talk briefly about today, updates, and all of these things, they can jump your retention by 60%. So it's not just about the holiday. It's not just about Colorado Gives Day. It's not just about end of year. But how are you holistically making sure that you're retaining these donors, of course, related to the campaign, related to Colorado Gives Day, but then in the year round as well. Don't just poke your head in on Colorado Gives Day and ask them to give. All right. This I wanted to make sure to reference again because it seemed like a popular concept on one of my other webinars. And the idea here is an easy warm up blast email to your donors this month, October, before Colorado Gives Day. The idea is you are not asking for a donation. You are simply thanking them for being here, for supporting, for standing by your side. As a donor. So why are we asking you to do a pre-thank you email? There's a couple of really interesting case studies out there. This one caught my eye. So this was a case study where they took two groups of major donors, so split a group, and to one group, they sent a thank you. No appeal, no ask, just acknowledging that they thank them for stepping up in the past. And then, of course, the other group, they got nothing. Well, the group that got the thank you raised $450,000 more than the group that didn't get the thank you. So it is impactful to acknowledge people before they take that action of donating. Don't just pop into their inbox when it's convenient for you. Make sure they feel seen in this month of October. So I provided just a couple of examples here. A 2024 donor example. So if you're segmenting everybody from 2024, this might be an email that you are sending out this October. Because of you, Colorado Gives Day will be stronger. We'll keep you updated. Oops, sorry. I wanted to make sure you guys saw this. We'll keep you updated as the big day approaches. But today, please know, you've already helped us take a huge step forward. I feel that. If I was reading that as a donor, I would feel that. And so make sure these emails are authentic. They're coming from a real person, your ED or development director, someone that it makes sense that it's coming through. And don't make them look like your newsletter. Make it plain, sincere, from a real person. Lapsed donors. So if you haven't got some people back from 2023, this might be a good email to send. You helped make a difference, and we'd love to celebrate you again. See the ending here? We'd be honored to have you with us again this year. Wow, honored? Me as a donor? It's compelling. And then last example here might be a segment just for your more major donors. You make Colorado Gives Day possible, and it's true. The vast or not vast majority, that's an incorrect statement, but a large amount of major donations come through during Colorado Gives Day. I love this one because it's really speaking to the donor that wants to make a difference, a long-term impact. Your steadfast support has built the foundation for everything we do. Me? My gift? That's amazing. And I like this. It's a little bit cheeky at the end. This note isn't an ask. It's a heartfelt thank you. We're deeply grateful for your partnership and we can't wait to celebrate. There's that celebration, the collective impact. So these are just some examples, hopefully to inspire. And so just to be clear, the action that I'm suggesting you take, optional, is to send a pre-thank you email in October that asks them nothing and just acknowledges how awesome your donors are. All right. And so if we were live, I'd be asking questions. But again, I wanted to remind folks that I'm going to be having an office hours, and you'll see that in the email that we send you post webinar. And I'd love for you just to join so we could chat about the prizes, strategy, anything that is relevant to you guys. Obviously, if we need to talk about Colorado Gives Day in other forms outside of the prizes, would love to do that too. So it's an open office hours. We will send out the RSVP. It's virtual, of course. So you can join, ask your question, pop back out. So we hope you'll join that in lieu of us having the time to answer your questions live. And then I'll also just encourage you guys to email support and or schedule a one-on-one call with me if you need to chat through anything. All right, guys, this has been really awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do. We are so excited to present these prizes to you, and we hope you leverage them to make your donors feel good and to make your campaigns raise even more than before. All right, take care.